Rafa Benitez wants further reinforcements to arrive in order to bolster at least 3 key areas of his team, while the Spaniard also knows he needs to move on some high-earning fringe players and also recoup funds by cashing in on the likes of Aleksandar Mitrovic. But given that this is the first shortened window for Premier League clubs, there is now exactly 1 month until the English top flight will cease trading, even if teams on the continent will still be able to complete business until the end of August. Given that the Premier League's transfer window closes on Thursday, August 9, 2 days before United kick off their season against Tottenham Hotspur at St James's Park, UFC writer Chris Waugh analyzes which key transfer business United still need to complete inside the next 31 days. A striker is essential. Aleksandar Mitrovic in action for Serbia. Image, Getty Images Europe. It is the one position Newcastle cannot afford to go through the window without strengthening, although, in truth, that has been the case for each of the previous 3, too. With Mitrovic for sale and Islam Slimani not being considered for a permanent move following his disappointing loan spell on Tyneside, Benitez currently has just 2 frontline senior out-and-out strikers in his first-team squad in Dwight Gale and Joselu. Adam Armstrong has been training with the first-team squad in recent days in order to bulk out the number of attacking players, while Ios Perez can also fill in up front, but Benitez wants a proven, top-flight striker to lead the United line. Nice as Alassane Plea is the #1 target, but Newcastle have had an initial £20 million bid rejected, and it remains to be seen whether United will offer anything close to the French side's £27 million asking price. With the likes of Tottenham Hotspur, West Ham United, Fulham and at least 2 German sides tracking Plea's situation, Newcastle will need to act quickly if they are to sign a player who it is understood is keen to play under Benitez. Another striker who would relish the chance to lead the line at St James's Park next season is Solomon Rondon. The 28-year-old Venezuelan has a £16.5 million release clause in his West Bromwich Albion contract, and Benitez is an admirer of the former Malaga and Zenit St Petersburg striker. That duo appear to be near the top of Benitez's wanted list, but there are contingency options too, including Liverpool's Danny Ings, with the Spaniard having learned from the failed pursuit of Nikolai Jorgensen in January. If Mitrovic was to be sold soon, then there is a chance Benitez could even sign 2 strikers this summer, but, at this stage, United fans would gratefully welcome a solitary forward addition. There could still be a significant shake-up on the wing. Kennedy. Image, Newcastle United. Another area where Newcastle are hopeful of making a breakthrough soon is in negotiations to bring Kennedy back to Tyneside. Reports in London over the weekend suggested a season-long loan deal with an option to buy had been agreed with Chelsea, but it is understood that, although negotiations are still ongoing, it has not quite reached such an advanced stage yet. Despite that, the 22-year-old Brazilian remains a key target for Benitez, and the United manager is hopeful that a deal will be reached with the Blues, which will see Kennedy return to Tyneside on an initial loan. But Kennedy is not the only winger who could potentially return to St James's Park this summer, with Andros Townsend also on Benitez's wanted list. Crystal Palace are open to selling the 26-year-old, who Benitez has wanted during each of the past 3 transfer windows, too. At the moment it looks like Palace will demand an excess of £17 million for the England international, and that is likely to mean Matt Ritchie will need to be sold if Townsend is to return. Stoke City want Ritchie, but are yet to offer the £15 million plus Newcastle want for the Scotland international, and Benitez is happy to keep the winger if the replacement cannot be signed. Alternatives such as Albert Adoma and Adama Traore have been floated as potential backup options, but the focus for now is on Kennedy and Townsend, with the former the most likely to return at this stage. Full-back cover is desperately needed at the moment. Newcastle only have Paul Dummett, DeAndre Yedlin and Javier Manquillo who are out-and-out full-backs in their first-team squad. Jamie Sterry is on the books still too, but Benitez is looking to sell the youngster, while Isaac Hayden can cover in on the defensive flanks. Following the release of Jesus Gomez and Musadio Haidara, and with Chancel Mbemba certain to be sold this summer, Benitez needs significant reinforcements at fullback. He wants a right-back who he believes can challenge Yedlin for a first-team place, and would ideally also like to sign a versatile defender who can provide cover. Inquiries have been launched for a few players who fit the bill, but as of yet no fullback has been signed. Alongside a striker and an attacking midfielder, I'd say right-back is the priority position for Newcastle to strengthen in Benitez's eyes right now. An attacking midfielder and a centre-back could yet be recruited this window. Chancel Mbemba, Image, Newcastle United. Newcastle have signed 2 players so far this summer, and Benitez would like at least another 3 to follow, but further additions could still arrive even beyond that. With Mbemba set to depart, Newcastle will only have 3 out-and-out centre-back options in Florian Lejeune, Jamal Lascelles and Kieran Clark, and, even though Hayden can play in such a position, Benitez would ideally like another versatile defensive option. But the problem position Benitez would also like to solve this summer is the number 10 role. The Spaniard has sought an attacking midfielder for the best part of 2 years in order to challenge Perez for a starting berth, but as of yet his search has proven fruitless. Shearer. Where to watch fan celebrations. Pickford's rise earlier in the year, Benitez had made number 10 a priority position he wanted to strengthen, but the need to sign a striker and a winger means the United manager's budget is likely to be stretched to the limit. Ruben Loftus-Cheek could have been an option if Kennedy was to sign permanently this summer, but the one loan United are permitted to receive from Chelsea looks likely to be the Brazilian instead. As a result, the 10th of May have to wait for another window at least. Further deals beyond a striker, winger and fullback will require time and funds to complete, both of which are big ifs at this stage given the business United already need to do. Getting players off the books remains very much a pressing concern. Goalkeeper Matt sells. Image, Newcastle United. Although Benitez does not need to sell before he can buy, offloading unwanted high earners off the books first should help speed up the business the Spaniard wants to complete. Mbemba, who has been told he has no future under Benitez, has all but agreed to join Porto, but Newcastle's pre-season opponents are yet to meet the Magpies' £8 million asking price for the defender. Talks remain ongoing, with Porto offering around £5.5 million, and it is hoped that a compromise will be agreed soon enough. Matt Sells, however, has endured an even more frustrating summer window than Mbemba. He had agreed a contract with Anderlecht, but the Belgian club could not match Newcastle's financial demands, and the goalkeeper is already back on Tyneside for pre-season training, despite not being part of first-team plans going forward. As for Mitrovic, Fulham are in talks with Newcastle to sign the striker, and there appears to be positivity on all sides that a £20 million deal can be struck, which would bring much-needed additional funds into Benitez's transfer kitty. Colback is not wanted by Benitez and will be pushed to leave, given that his £40,000 a week wages are draining resources, while Henri Savit could also depart. Mikel Merino, meanwhile, should complete his move to Real Sociedad imminently, with the Spanish club having already enacted his £10 million release clause. As for players Benitez would consider selling if significant bids arrive, then Ritchie and Dwight Gale, who are both targets for Stoke, would fit into that category. However, Benitez will only countenance selling either of that pair if a replacement arrives, and if an offer which is simply too good to refuse is received.